Coming to the ring right now, ladies and gentlemen, out of Mound, Minnesota, at 218 pounds, he is the great Greg Gagne.
All right, I love that intro, and I am very happy. I love it even more because we have both guys back. It is Straight Talk with the Boss, Magnum TA, Greg Gagne. Boy, the band is back together, fellas. Magnum, good to see you again.
Good to be
Good
back.
to see
My
you
old
guys.
partner over there, my old tag team partner. He's been on the shelf a little bit, trying to straighten out Power Town.
He's the boss. He's laying
He
down
is
law.
the boss, man.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm not ashamed to say it's kicking my butt.
Well, it's good to have you back. We're live here.
Do we have any big news yet we can announce, or you
Not
hit-
a damn bit.
Not a damn bit. Not a damn bit.
that'll
But
get
thank you for asking me.
all our viewers excited.
Thanks for asking.
Way to sell it. I gave you an opening there.
Yeah, well, I'll return the favor. Yeah, we can go on.
Wow.
Boy, you blew up the spot, Greg. You blew up the spot.
Man, oh boy, get some action going here.
I'll see you guys again in August.
But we're live here on fourhorsemannetwork.com and live on my X account too at the moment. So if you guys have questions, we've had a good couple of weeks here with Greg flying solo, chatting up about the history of the business and a lot of good stuff there. But feel free to ask anything going on. We should have a good show lined up here for today and appreciate everybody. So be sure to like, share, subscribe if you're on fourhorsemannetwork.com and get the word out about the show. We're going to be more prominent now on Brass Ring Media, the channel that used to be Kurt Angle's. So big subscriber count there. So hopefully we'll create some bigger waves on that channel as well. But did want to start off, Magnum and Greg, since Greg and I last did a show, we had a passing legend in the industry in Sabu, and he passed away. And I got to know him over the course of the last year and so, but just kind of wanted your guys' thoughts on the influence of somebody like it, so innovative that Sabu was, and what he kind of meant to the business at the time, and your impression of him. Magnum, we'll start with you on that.
Well, I followed Sabu through his ECW career. That was my first introduction to him, and he was that kamikaze, throw caution to the wind, sacrifice your body for the sake of the business kind of guy, and it was phenomenal. I mean, he definitely was passionate about the business and gave it his all, and it's a shame to see yet another one gone young, because we've had so much of that throughout the course of the history of the business, particularly the last 30 years, has been really hard on the roster. And so yet another one gone too soon. Great contribution to the business. And it's funny, though, as radical as he appeared and things that he did in the ring, which were pretty radical, he still had lines that he didn't cross. He had things that he didn't like to do and he didn't think were necessary. So I guess there's been a lot more of his clips popping up on YouTube since his untimely passing. But I really enjoyed listening to some of those and listening to his philosophy and some of the things that he adhered to. And there was logic in the madness of what he did. So he was definitely a huge, huge contributor, and he's made his mark in the history books of wrestling. And he'll be sorely missed.
Absolutely. Well said, Magnum. You hit a lot of great points. Greg, what were your thoughts about Sabu? Did you have any interaction or cross paths with him?
Never had any interaction with him. Wasn't really around him much, but I refer back to the original Sheik.
Yes.
And he was kind of the new version of the Sheik, a better version. From back in the 50s and 60s, the Sheik, the matches were pretty much all the same, whereas he brought more to the air to wrestling than the original Sheik did. Sabu, I mean, and I watched a couple of his matches lately, and TA hit it right on the head. You know, there was a story to it, and you know, it wasn't the kind of story that we would project in the ring, either one of us, but he told it the way his character and his personality was, and he did a phenomenal job. And he's greatly missed. Greatly missed.
Absolutely. He was, I hear so many stories too, how generous he was to a fault. Like in, you know, my little interaction with him, I could definitely see that as well too. He was like, always gives you a hug and stuff like that. But to what you guys are saying, Magnum, you brought it up, and it's such a great point about him too, is like, it looked chaotic and looked wild at what he did. And some of it was obviously, but like at the core of it, he had such a strong foundation too of storytelling, but also the wrestling aspect of it all. Like the Sheik trained him as just that core, literally legitimately trying to pin people and trying to get the win on people. And that's how he showed Rob Van Dam and Sabu in the ring, is how to do that kind of stuff. So at that very core of all that wild and innovative stuff that he did, he had that as his foundation. And I think that conveyed a lot through his smarts in the business and through what he did in the ring a lot of the ways. So
great observation. Good job.
Thank you. Yeah. So, RIP to Sabu. The GoFundMe has been up, and man, it flew way past the goal too. Over $50,000 was donated to help him and his family with the funeral services and stuff. So,
terrific.
Great stuff to hear there. Everybody teaming up together for that. But my goodness. As far as anything else goes, Magnum, I know you've been trying to keep tabs, but like we talked off air, it's been kind of tough to keep tabs too at the same time with what's been going on with the product and everything. It's kind of the WrestleMania down season right now, but they do have Saturday night's main event coming up. Is there anything that's kind of gotten you intrigued, or that's been really catching your eye over the course of the past few weeks that we haven't?
I tell you what caught my eye yesterday. Somebody did an AI version of John Cena, and it looked just like John Cena cutting this promo on The Rock and the creative team at WWE, and the whole, and it was, you know, AI is so advanced. I mean, it was him. The words were coming out of his mouth. I mean, I have no doubt, you know, it was AI.
Yeah.
But somebody said all the things that you could imagine him thinking as he's in the stage of what he's doing. And it was it was kind of prophetic, because it's you know, they've got such this, you know, weird little nuance of a thing going on here that they're wanting to capitalize on. Has he had the main event yet with the Saturday night main event with our R-Truth?
Not yet. That's going to be this Saturday. He'll be up against R-Truth.
And you know, and I look at that, and I mean, I love R-Truth, and I love the way they use him, and how he's so, you know, off the wall. And I did hear his interview that he gave, that though off the wall was, you know, if I have to like beat him back into being John Cena, I'm ready. He's ready to do that too. So there was some stuff, some neat stuff in there, but it's like I can't wrap my head around just their whole deal. Do they just milk this and have, you know, Randy Orton-ish type, you know, great matches with different, you know, folks between now and December, and then decide who they're going to put the belt back on, you know, if it's going to be Cody or you know, whoever it might be. You know, is that what they do? I just can't, you know, I don't see Saturday night main event for undisputed World's Heavyweight Championship is kind of a fluff match. It's like they took the shortcut. Oh, this little fluffy thing. We don't have to worry about hurting anybody. We're going to do our thing and do our deal. And so we had John Cena on, you know, for the draw, for the deal. But, you know, I wish there was more meat. I wish they explained things that they didn't explain. I'm still waiting for an explanation why they laid out such a 5-star match for Randy. The match he and John Cena had was 5-star. It was what we should have seen at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And so, I mean, I know obviously John can still work. I know definitively Cody can go out there and tear the house down. So what was wrong? Why couldn't they not paint that kind of picture there? And particularly the fact that he's going to do the favor and drop the strap. It just looks like they completely out left field with some of the things they do by comparison. Because again, Randy Orton went out there and tore the house down and RKO'd everybody in the building. And, it didn't matter that he got beat.
No.
It didn't matter in any way, shape, or form. And nobody went home mad and felt like they didn't get their money's worth or that it was lazy booking or whatever. It was a 5-star thing. So they're capable. And if they can give us 3 or 4 more like that between now and December, I guess maybe they're smarter than I think.
Yeah, it would be a good ride then. Greg,
what are your opposite? I think this thing with Logan Paul, I watched his interview. He did a phenomenal interview the other night on their TV show.
On Raw. Yeah, on Raw.
Yeah, on Raw. And it was really good. And then the end of the night, he came back on and got his shot in on Uso. Uso got one earlier on him, the beginning of the show. He got one back. And he is such a great interviewer.
Yeah, oh yeah,
he really gets the people going. And he's in the ring, the short time he's been in there, he's phenomenal.
Oh yeah, he's very seamless in a lot of ways in what he's able to do.
What got me a little bit though was the Gunther interview then with Logan Paul.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You could feel the audience. They were trying to get into it a little bit, but they couldn't really get into it because they didn't like either one of them.
But I think
Gunther went off.
The Gunther, they're kind of heating up almost as a babyface at this juncture, and it's going to be interesting to see how that all falls apart or falls into place if at Saturday night's main event what they decide to do when it comes to Gunther.
It'll be interesting. Maybe Gunther will mess up the match. Who knows?
Who knows? Well, so what do you think about though what Magnum has been talking about when it comes to Cena and how they've been positioning him, how the world title picture is on him and him as a heel right now too, Greg?
Well, I agree with TA. I mean, to me, the match with Cody, that the ending of that was flat.
Yeah, yeah.
It didn't help, I don't think, either one of them.
Mm-mm.
And then Randy came on with Cena the following week and tore the place apart. Now that's the kind of match they should have had with Cody and Cena, at WrestleMania. And I don't know whoever came up with that, the end of that match. I don't think it was too good.
Yeah. No, it's kind of universally panned in a lot of ways.
It really was. I mean, God, the following, like TA said, I mean, Randy and Cena just tore that place apart.
Yeah.
And when he left the ring to get pinned, he wasn't hurt at all.
No.
But to go back to WrestleMania, I think they made Cody look like a kind of a dumbbell.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's almost like what the criticism was with Sting back in the day, how he was like such a good baby face, but he was like almost gullible in certain ways, where like how they angled and positioned it, And I think Cody is kind of the babyface Cody character is kind of suffering from that sometimes, where it's just like, but maybe they're going to tell a story here where he had that conflicted thing about hitting Cena with the belt. And now we're going to see a new Cody Rhodes once he returns. I don't know, but I'm with you guys.
He doesn't need to be a new Cody Rhodes. He needs to have a match like Orton had with him.
Absolutely.
In the two. What, Tia?
And they've got a great opportunity there, to your point. If he were to come back, because he's great. He's great about always weaving the stories back together.
Yeah.
And he can point to the place in the match where he had the opportunity. See, it's just everybody remembers things chronologically and as they took place. Go all the way back to the I Quit match he had with AJ Styles, and when he's got the barricade or whatever was up over his head, and AJ's like tied to the flipping to the ring post or something, or the rope, and he goes ahead and clobbers him with it, right?
Yeah.
So that wasn't a moral dilemma.
That's a great point.
So at what point in time did little Mary Sunshine sprinkle the golden rule on him and say, now that's not a nice thing to do? Shouldn't do that. Because frankly, I was surprised that he went, the route that he did with AJ.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little over the top for him being in control and where he was at, control of the tempo of the match. You'd have thought they'd had a 8-month blood feud, which they had not, leading up to it. And Cena, who, pretty much, pissed in his cornflakes, before this whole thing, you wouldn't have to step on my toe too hard to make me want to, jump right over there and go Mustang on you right off the get-go. So,
right.
So again, I want to see how they play it. I know Cody is a mastermind of psychology and will figure out how to weave it around. But it's a golden opportunity to tell some story woven all in this, whether he comes back with a different intensity, and because you can't. That was always my thing back during the NWA WWE wars when I was still in it. If I'm out there with Flair or Nikita or Tully, who were like mortal enemies of mine in the ring, I wasn't going to look to somebody and ask them if this is the right thing to do. I'm not going to pause in the moment of a heated battle and a confrontation and look around for a pregnant pause or milk the crowd, maybe grandiose about something. I'm not going to come down to the ring, as a matter of fact, prior to that championship match and look like anything but lightning bolts are coming out of my eyes, and all I can think about is killing you.
Right.
And hence why I missed my entrance in the I Quit match, because I was standing in the ring just like that before when the lights came up, because I missed the whole thing because I did want to kick his ass.
Yeah.
So I mean, somewhere in the storytelling, even though it's this grand stage and all these things, they can't just throw the baby out with the bathwater and forget those things, because it's not Hulkamania anymore. Is storytelling at its most elite level, and you can't negate the fact that you're supposed to be depicting emotion and anger and pent-up frustration and things like Jey Uso did a great job doing over his frustration with Gunther, and how they tied all that together. And Cody, that woven back into the Cody story, coming back with John, could be absolutely phenomenal. He could crawl out of a hole out of the ground in the middle of the desert and say he's been on a sabbatical, refinding himself, and turning into some flipping beast mode, version of himself, from an intensity perspective, and recreate, it all over again. But he can't be hugging babies and politicking and trying to be the mayor when you're on your way to go, fight Ming the Merciless.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I love it, Magnum.
Well, you told the story there. I mean, that's the way it was. I mean, if you can't depict to the people how the fire that comes from you and get them locked into your personality and the fire that you're showing.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what I didn't feel in that match. And it's their their big main event. This is the thing. Cody going, for the title and all that. And God Almighty, it really frustrated me. And I know it did TA too.
No, not at all.
I could tell.
No, but again,
I mean, that's what you have to project when you go into the ring. The people, from the time you come out, they're either going to be with you or not. And if you come out just, whoa, here I come, they're going to lose you right away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would have loved been able to work with TA.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
And just, you know, in a clean match
Mm-hmm.
and telling that story.
That would have been a fun one.
Getting those people emotionally involved in it, that's the secret. And if you don't have it coming out and you don't have it getting out, you're not going to sell many more tickets.
No.
But there's one match I've got to talk about.
All right, what is it?
SmackDown. Nia Jax and my girl Tiffany.
Yes, talk about it. What do you think?
That was a fantastic, one of the greatest women matches and men matches I've ever seen.
Wow.
I mean, they put it together, and Nia Jax, tipped my hat off to her. She is phenomenal. And she carried that thing. You know, Tiffany followed right along, but Tiffany got her shots in there when she had to and showed that fire. And that was one of the best matches I've seen in a long time, women's matches.
Man, how about
What
that?
did you think, TA?
Well, you and I were both watching at the same time, and you called me right afterwards, so I know we were both on the same page.
Yeah.
And what you don't know, Dom, is the rest of the story is we were laughing because I was laughing because the spot they did at the end with the chair and Tiffany drop kicks it and hard ways her.
Right?
Oh, yeah. And so, you know, obviously, you know, she got a good kick on that chair. And when I very first came to the Crockett's, I ran down. Flair was a babyface, and Wahoo was beating him up. And they had me run down the ring. Wahoo was picking up a chair, getting ready to hit Flair with it, and I was supposed to drop kick it out of his hands. Well, I drop kicked him so hard it came back and put a gash in his head. It was my first night in as a babyface, and he's sitting over there getting 8 stitches in his head. Hey, Magnum, nice to have you on board. That good. Just potato the crap out of him. I got all that share, but I think Tiffany did too. And you know, it you don't ever want anybody to get hurt or hurt.
Sure, yeah.
But it looked so good, and that's why it looked so good. She got, you know, she didn't just jump up and little tippy toe tap that chair. She kicked it, you know, and it knocked Godzilla, you know, off her perch there for a minute.
How about that too? And you think about the connection you can make with that because, you know, Becky Lynch, the man gimmick started after Nia Jax busted her face open. And then here you're just adding more legitimacy to what the women's division is in WWE, and like having 2 heavy hitters like Tiffy and Nia Jax going at it like that, and something like that kind of happens, unfortunately, but it's still at the same time, it's not ballet, and that kind of happens. So you're telling a story in that regard. It's good stuff.
Well, that women's division is really getting strong. These girls have had some phenomenal matches, these ladies, I should say. But they've had some, I mean, all of them. And oh my God, who am I thinking of here? Oh shit, with the tattoos.
Oh, Rhea Ripley.
Rhea. Yeah. God almighty. I love watching her matches. And then, you know, at 76 and a few turnbuckles, I forget what I'm talking about. But, but those girls, I watched this week, and I was more impressed with the girls' matches than I was some of the men matches.
Oh, like a lot. I get that. Like that match too. Was the one Becky, the one Becky was in the
3-way.
The 3-way match. I love that match. I thought it was great. You know. Yeah. I did want to, Greg. I wanted to follow up because we talked, and Magnum, I want your opinion on this too. But Greg and I, we've been talking about Lyra Valkyria, and Greg, you were mentioning how it kind of wasn't really going for you and stuff like that, and hard to make a connection with her. Do you feel any different now, or how they've kind of developed? No, still,
no. You know, I just can't. I can't get into her match.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the way she presents it with her opponent. She's talented, but there's that emotional feeling that you have to get with that person.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm not getting from her.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, TA, have you feel that way at all? Or
well, I've got an unfair perspective because I watched her in CMLL for probably 6 months before you ever knew she existed.
Wow. Okay.
and I watched her work with Tessa and countless girls there in that lucha style, which is completely. If you think it's lucha here, it's not lucha here like it's lucha there. It's different because
Yeah.
they are just. It's a thing, but it never stops. There. But I think she's a megastar.
Yeah.
Mega. I think that her adapting to the American, style along with, but she has got the it factor. She's got charisma coming out of her ears. She's alluring. Just with she knows how to work her eyes. She knows how to work her expressions so well with the camera that she is going to be huge, in my estimation. Yeah, I think she's going to be bigger, probably the biggest Latino-ish woman star that they've got, going before it's all over with.
Well, so Magnum, I think you're thinking of somebody else because Lyra Valkyria.
What are you talking about?
We're talking about Lyra Valkyria.
Oh, I'm talking about the other one.
Are you thinking Stephanie Vacour?
Yes.
I was a little puzzled there because I thought, wow.
Oh yeah.
Well, no, and you know what? I like her too. I like that girl too. I think she's.
Well, I like her, but
no, because I watched her match. I watched her program with Becky.
Yeah.
And what she did, and no, I absolutely, I feel the same way about her, because the strength things that she's doing in the ring, the moves that she's doing off the mat, where she's completely controlling her opponent. There's not pound per pound another woman on the roster that's using that kind of body dynamic that she's doing. There's nobody doing that. I mean, very, very unique, different things that she's capable of doing physically, and I think that's why they're so vested in her as a long-term, a champion. Because I've been reading and what about her. But yeah, I had the two V's mixed up. The Valkyrie,
Vacour and Valkyria.
But yeah, Australia and where's the other one from? It's not Mexico. It's
Argentina.
Argentina.
Yep.
So anyway, they're both foreigners, but just a little different dimension. But yeah, I think Greg's talking about the charisma, the big bang and all that stuff. But I'm looking at the mechanics of what she can do in a. I mean, because you saw the match she had with Becky Lynch, right, Greg?
Yeah, I did.
Some of those maneuvers she was doing, the physical strength because nobody can help her. I mean, she was doing all that on her own.
Oh no, she's got great moves in that, but I can't emotionally get into her personality.
Well,
whereas I look at Belair and Rhea Ripley and that crew from that one. Well, I can get into those gals watching them.
Well, see, they can't all be. They can't. Nobody's going to be a Rhea Ripley. She's on a whole nother sphere.
Yeah.
I mean, these are like your junior wingmen that are working their way up the deal, and Rhea had that. She had that thing from the beginning. Now, you think about if Rhea hadn't reinvented herself. What if Rhea had stayed, the blonde-haired Barbie look like Charlotte Flair?
Yeah.
And hadn't gone the polar opposite and hadn't leaned into the goth-looking, tattooed, piercing, different, persona. She completely reinvented herself on the way up through NXT to come up with that, that bad apple character that she portrayed. So, I don't think anybody, came up with that for her. She had to find some lane she was comfortable in. To Greg's point, something's got to be somewhere ingrained in your persona for you to pull that off. And so, for any of the girls that Alexa Bliss, same thing. She can captivate an audience with her own little stylization of doing things and doing them well. So you've got this, you got this one tier that is on Mount, on the top of the heap that are the bar, but you've got so many girls that are there in that middle growing linear that it's got to be a booking challenge because they don't get the screen time that the men do because just out of the sheer numbers. And you could probably, honest to goodness, have it right straight down the line 50-50 of time invested between men and women and still not do them all justice.
No, absolutely. Right.
I agree with you on that. Yeah.
No, Magnum, I'm with you though on Lyra. I think and Greg, I understand where you're coming from too when it comes to getting some personality across and some things like that. But I really think she is kind of getting there, and I think the program with Becky has really, really helped her a lot and kind of opened her up more so as a good fiery baby face. And I'm hoping that we get to see a little bit more when it comes to what she decides to do. Maybe like the ultimate way to maybe do this, if you find the right women to be in that position, would be to maybe turn her heel, and so then she can really find like a good antagonistic kind of personality of her side that she can pull out of herself. And
if she has it though, she's trying to project it and she doesn't have it, it's not going to come across well. And I can't when I watch her, I mean her matches are very, very good.
Yeah.
She's not getting me emotionally into her personality.
And
if you can't get your audience into your personality, you're not going to sell tickets.
Well, let me throw this out at you. Okay. Becky Lynch was very much like that before she had the get her face busted open and turn and the whole I'm the man deal. She was working hard, but remember when Becky first came out, she kind of had the steampunk look with the glasses and the
right.
And trying she couldn't find her lane. Am I wrong when she first?
No, you're right.
You're right.
You're on the move.
I like
you got to find that lane.
But she hadn't found her lane, and so all these other girls, are going to have to your point, kind of find the same way to navigate it and put their own personality, their influence into it. Because even though they're handing you today a script or whatnot, you can put enough spin or enough of your personality in something to manipulate things if you're crafty. And there's every success story that's there. I guarantee you. If LA Knight has laid on the package they handed him when he came in, we'd have never heard nothing more about him. He'd been, yesterday's news. But hard work, perseverance, and driving till you get that opening is paramount.
Right.
So yeah. But I think the girls are gonna. I think they're going to kill it. I'd hate to be booking it because again, there's not enough time to get emotionally invested in them, to get to know them, to understand what all's going on because it's all stinking over the place. And that you got Jade Cargill just sitting there, simmering, waiting. She needs to be working with a hand, somebody really, really thinking good as an opponent every night. Where she get that ring time and can lean into all the natural gifts that she's got, but learn the timing that only that ring experience will give you. I mean, she's light years ahead of where she was when she was AEW. I mean, not even the same sentence, but nothing short of hours and hours of live performing is going to take her to that next level.
Well, I've already got into her.
What was that, Greg?
Yeah, she's captivated me.
For sure.
I know, there's some little mishaps in her matches, timing wise and that. But as far as her personality and the way she moves in the ring, the way she presents herself, I got into her right away.
Oh yeah, Jade was natural, just natural.
I emotionally got into that, but I don't know. I guess everybody's different, TA sees the little Irish girl in a different fashion than what I do. And she just hasn't caught me yet. You know, she has good matches, but it's not the kind of that I would lay money down to go watch. It's entertaining, and it's, you know, it's good, but it's not money.
So I'm somewhere in between where I think like her being paired with Becky is the best thing for her, and like you know, and I think getting that and that feud that they're doing, I'm interested in. I'm intrigued by it. I think, and I do want to see her grow in this, Lyra grow against Becky in this, and I think this is a great feud for them to have. So I think, and Magnum, I thought when you mentioned Jade and like that she needs a good like dance partner and stuff like that when it comes to everything. I was thinking earlier too, who Becky had a match with on Raw in that 3-way was Natalya. Is like, what if you were able to, and Natalya's been doing all this stuff in the NWA and then Bloodsport and really kind of repackaging herself outside of WWE as a different kind of look and feel. And I think you get Natalya kind of mixed up in a good feud with Jade, that would benefit both those talents for them in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think it would be cool. You know, I'm like watching from like 30,000 feet view of kind of some of the things they're doing, like this triple thing they're having in California where they've got the AAA group that they just bought performing, and then, you know, TNA on another night is going to be working. And if they could start doing more things, and I realize all the money's in you know, pay-per-view and television, but if while they're in those things and they give those kids opportunities to work some shows while they're in that little genre, in that deal, and work with other people and do some different stuff. You know, your big expense is mobbing everybody in anyway while you got them there. You know, every time you did one of those things, if you could throw 1 or 2 house show events in, around, and surrounding it and give people more opportunity to have those live performances, it benefit everybody. And they still sell the darn things out. They still, you know, they do it, but they could, you know, they could take advantage of all this different cultural, you know, stylizations and all these things that they got going on. And, you know, I mean, TNA's got some, you know, got some solid talent going on there, and you know, mixing those, you know, you don't want the perception to be, oh, well, we only throw people over to work at TNA because we know we have no earthly idea what we're going to do with them at NXT, and we're not moving up to the main roster. Flip the script and let a star roll over there and kick somebody's butt. Even if there's not even a follow-up match.
Right.
Just Braun Breaker showed up there and drove somebody right through the back of the building and then left, and everything, the internet would blow up.
Yeah. 100%.
You know, and they're, you know, they're all sharing collateral money somehow. So, you know, why don't you do some things to you know, break the trends and think outside the box?
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely. That would shake things up a lot and like kind of blur the lines.
It gives them more opportunities to get in front of people in a different environment, smaller environment, and learn their craft and their art.
Yeah,
absolutely. And another match that stuck out for me was AJ Styles and Penta.
Yeah.
Against Finn Balor and his partner
JD.
They had a hell of a match.
Yeah, really.
I mean, that was really, really good. The finish of the match was great too.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was going to go that way.
No, right?
You kept me going the other way.
Right?
Who they put over? I didn't see it. Who won?
Judgment Day ended up winning now.
Judgment Day won it.
Yep, they won it, and
it was really, really good.
Well, Finn Balor is amazing. I mean, he's so good. He's in a league all of his own too.
Well, the other ones too, Penta and AJ. Some of the moves they did, and what's Finn's partner's name? I keep
McDonough.
Yeah, he had unbelievable moves, solid and just terrific match.
Yeah,
really kept the people going.
It's
Yeah,
it's another Irish wrestler though, Greg. Another Irish wrestler, just so you know.
What?
He's another Irish wrestler, just so you know. He's an Irish
Oh,
wrestler.
Irish?
Yeah,
Oh,
he
what
is.
did I say?
No, because Lyra, you were talking how you weren't connected with Lyra, but Jake.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
they're all Irish to me. You know,
That's what it is.
you got to get a couple
I'm
Frenchmen
Irish
in there, like the
background, so that's
Gagne, somebody like that. You know, get the wild Frenchmen in there, crazy people.
Gotta get it's an international. That's it. We gotta
It
get
is. So let's get a good Frenchman.
Ghoulies a new chatter in here. I wanted to have you guys seen any thoughts on Dynamite's nephew or his nephew's the best Japan and light heavyweight? Have you seen any of their work? It's Tom Billington, and I can't remember the other kid's name, but he looks exactly like Dynamite Kid if you haven't seen him yet.
Really? I haven't seen him.
I've seen him.
Okay. Yeah. He's very young, super young still, but looks exactly like Dynamite Kid. It's impeccable almost how crazy it is. We'll take a couple of fan questions here before we close on out. Matt Carter, who's also always a good fan, he says, how does this sound? Redoing 2 WrestleMania 3 matches. Greg against adorable Adrian in a hair versus hair match. Oh, man. And Magnum with Bobby Heenan in his corner as a heel taking on Hulk Hogan.
Ooh.
That would be some money stuff, right?
I would love to do anything with Bobby Heenan in my corner.
Oh, my God. He was unbelievable, TA.
Yeah.
He was.
Greg, we talked about him a couple of weeks ago, just me and you. Magnum, what's your thoughts on Bobby, too, and how you would, do you think, work with him and from an energy and chemistry standpoint?
Well, I mean, it would be like a night off. I mean, he's not like the third man in the ring. He's like the tag partner and everything else all combined in one. I mean, when you got somebody that has that kind of timing and knowledge and the nuances and things that he contributed, he never took away from anything. He always made it better.
Yeah.
And so to have a guy like him, particularly if you're going to get heat, and which I love the thought of that actually, but it would been a whole lot of fun to do for sure.
He was unpredictable too. You never knew what was going to happen with him.
Mm-hmm.
And they originally put him with Bockwinkel and Stevens.
Yeah.
Stevens and Nick Bockwinkel and Heenan. They were the tag team champions. They held it for 3 freaking years. That's unheard of. And I mean, sell out everywhere. Riots. God almighty.
And the heat, the chase is the thing. I can see that with Heenan out there with him. Holy crap.
Yeah. It was unbelievable. We were in Peoria, Illinois. A high school. It's filled to the top. And Heenan I forget what he did in the ring. And I went to grab him, and a fan threw a chair, and he ducked, and that chair hit me right on the bridge of the nose, busted my freaking nose. And I had to go to the doctor. Next day, he puts the prongs up there and puts his foot up between my crotch and got the bone back. And then I had to wrestle Heenan that night up in Duluth, Minnesota. We go up there, give him a turnbuckle, and as I charge in, he throws his head back, hits me in the nose intentionally. Boom, busted it again. I had 3 matches with him that week, and every night got my nose broke. And he would laugh his ass off. He would find out, he'd pick out in his interviews little idiosyncrasies of Bockwinkel's opponent or Stevens or his, and he would just hammer it into the ground.
Yeah.
And people would get so hot. Oh my God. He had more heat than anybody I'd ever been in the ring with.
Man, I believe it.
Yeah, he gave the people what they wanted when he got in the ring. There weren't too many managers that could do that. There were some great managers, but not only could they talk, he could talk, get the heat, and then get in the ring and give the people exactly what they wanted to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
And get the shit beat out of them,
Right. But Magnum, I think the pairing of you and Heenan together is really fascinating because you talk about Heenan and Bockwinkel. Like Bockwinkel is like that smart, higher like intellectual,
guy.
Yeah, intellectual.
No.
And you brought like a different style of intensity and like fiery stuff that would be like what an adversary for Hulk Hogan back at that time too. It would be really, really good to see, I think.
Yeah, it would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Sure.
Heck yeah. And then Greg, you and Adrian Adonis in a hair versus hair match. Would you cut your hair in a hair versus hair match?
Sure. I'd do it for Adrian. Man, Adrian was phenomenal in the ring.
Yeah.
We had some unbelievable matches. He could really go. You look at him and his body size and the way he looked didn't look like he could go, but he could go all night long. I mean, when they put him with Ventura, they had to put somebody because Ventura couldn't hold his hands up. But Adrian carried the match, and Jesse would go in and, when you were down, the babyface was down, then Jesse would come in and do his thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sell for him, and pretty soon, he started believing he was better than everybody else. He was a great interviewer, but ring-wise, yeah.
Adrian made up for that, though. He made up for that.
He really did. He was phenomenal.
Man. This was not a question, but this got brought up here. And Greg, I wanted your thoughts on this because I know you've interacted with him before. Mr. Kennedy said on Chris Van Vliet that he was going to wrestle till the wheels fell off. Some people just want to go out doing what they love. What has been your interaction with Ken Kennedy, or Ken Anderson, as he's known as?
Well, Ken's got a training camp up in Minnesota, here in town. And actually, I knew him from Mr. Kennedy, watching him on TV, but never was around him.
Sure.
He was from Green Bay, Wisconsin, so he used to watch the AWA all the time.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Well, the first time I had these two kids and Tiffany that wanted to train. I took these other two because I needed, with my back and everything, I can't show the moves and that. And I worked with these guys quite a bit, and they were getting better. And so he allowed us to work in the gym. And he's turned out, a lot of talent out of this gym that he comes into. And he has a little different philosophy than what we had back in the day. But he's more into what they need today and what they need from their talent. So he's done a very good job. He's a good coach.
What's different? What's strikingly different than what you were kind of used to that he's kind of teaches a little bit? Is there something?
Christ. Our workouts? You kidding me? We were 6 hours a day, 6 days a week, and we'd start out. We had to build up to do 1,000 free squats nonstop.
Jeez, yeah.
And then we get in the ring, and then Vern would start with maybe holds for an hour, and counter holds. And we do them over and over and over. And, then you'd go into, Christ, every hour was a different thing. The last hour we did, he would and he was in a big barn with no windows on it. And we went from September to, I think we were done March 1st, middle of March. And in Minnesota, you get days where it's 20 below, 30 below zero.
Wow, man.
And you go out there in your sweatsuit, and he'd warm you up, get you all sweaty. And, as we progressed, he would put one guy in the middle of the ring and the other 5 of us on the outside. And maybe Flair would go in, and Patera would be in there. Flair would go in for about 3-4 minutes, and Vern would just call headlock, takeover, kick out, 2 tackles, body slam, go through the whole thing. Boom, 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 boom. So you're reacting. And Patera would stay there and go through all 5 of us.
Jeez.
Well, then you're the guy in the middle, and you come out, you're sweating your ass off, the sweatsuit. And by the time you get to being the number one guy again, you go through all 5 guys, their sweatsuit would be froze to you.
Stuck to you.
Always call body slam. You'd go in and you felt like that cartoon character, that you just exploded.
Yeah.
But he was so technique, timing, when to do something, when not to do it. You learned that later on. But we came out of there in March, and we were ready to go.
Ready to roll.
We were ready to roll. And most of the guys, every one of them, except Bob Bruggers made it to main event stature in their second year.
Yeah, man, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
which was really, you know, and we were lucky too because we had such great talent there to help train us in the ring, you know, during the match, and talk to you afterwards and tell you what you did wrong and how you should have done this. So it was, I mean, Vern over the years turned out 240 some wrestlers, and I'd say maybe 3% weren't main eventers.
How about that?
Yeah.
Man, that's wild.
Wooly, Gene Anderson, Lars Anderson, Blackjack Mulligan, Blackjack Lanza, Baron von Raschke, Ricky Steamboat, Flair. You know, I mean, it's some big names all the way through from way back when he trained, you know, God, Hunt Schmidt and guys like that.
Man, yeah. It's quite the resume for Vern for sure, you know.
It was, but it was very eye opening to all of us. We all came out of the college sports. Patera came out of the Olympics, you know, and we thought we were, you know, we were pretty good. Shit.
Yeah.
he had us throwing up and everything else.
I believe it. It. Well, Ghoulies has another kind of question I'll tailor to you guys a little bit. Greg, obviously I know you've trained Tiffany and stuff like that, and you're doing with JDX and the other individual as well. But Magnum, how often do you get people coming up to you and asking you for like advice overall from a wrestling perspective? Do you get that pretty commonly?
Well, it's kind of hard to do because I don't leave the house much anymore.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, the culture of the time has changed. I mean, you know, people will reach out, they'll ask me this, that, and the other, and I send them to, you know, to George South or Lodi or someone I know that's got a school, and let them do their thing. Because it's, first of all, you know, it's a different era, it's a different group of kids. They don't have the time, first of all, to invest in it. You know, from a, you know, non-professional, you know, realm. I mean, there's nobody that could put the time in, like you know, and not be working that they did. You know, Greg's dad did, and with guys.
I mean, don't mean to interrupt you. I want to ask you a question though.
Yeah.
You were a great amateur wrestler, and you made the transition to pro. Who trained you?
Who trained me?
Yeah.
The road.
The road trained him.
Really?
He didn't have anybody. He learned on the go.
I worked out in the ring one time before my first match, and never had another. That was it.
Wow.
That's just
Who'd you work out with the one time?
Princess Victoria and Buzz Sawyer.
How about that? And then Buzz screwed you out. He screwed you over, right? Buzz screwed you over.
He'd already screwed me over, but I was there to get in the business, and I did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I worked out in the ring for 2 hours, had my first match, and was booked 7 days a week from there on out.
Where did you start then? What state were you in?
I was in Portland, Oregon.
Portland?
I left from
Don
Virginia.
Owens?
I left from Virginia, drove all the way around the United States, and found Buzz, and started in January of 1980. And
For Don Owens?
And then the only other guy that ever I worked out in the ring one time with Manny Fernandez in San Antonio, Texas. When I went there, I'd been in the business 6 months, and in 5 minutes he taught me how to throw a drop kick. I'd never done one before in my life. He showed me how to do it in 5 minutes.
No shit.
Yeah. I mean,
pick it up right away? Did you pick it up right away?
First time he showed me, I both feet right up in the face.
Whoa.
I mean, he just showed me. Manny moved like a gazelle, like an athlete.
Yeah,
and he was able to show me where I was able to see the rhythm of what you had to do. And as soon as he showed me, and I saw the step and the leap off, man, I was boom, bam, pop, and you know, that literally is the only 2 times I was in the ring where anybody showed me how to do anything.
Did you work for Don Owens then in Oregon, didn't you?
For 6 months, yeah.
How did you like Don? He was a character, wasn't he?
I loved Don, and I loved his brother because his brother used to run like Salem, and he was a big amateur fan, and he'd pay an extra, I forgot whether it was 25 or $30 if you'd have a 5-minute shoot in the first part of your match to see who could get a takedown.
Seriously?
A takedown. And of course the boys would all go out there and work it and then split the money. Just make it fake. But I mean, but it was funny. Like Matt Bourne was a good amateur wrestler too.
Yeah.
And Matt and I went out there and kind of tussled with each other for a little bit. It entertained him, and it was fun. But yeah, I loved Don. Again, poor Don. This was before the internet and being able to check things out. And Buzz told him I'd been working for Bill Watts for 6 months, and I had worked for 6 hours.
He was a character, wasn't he, Don?
Oh. Yeah, he was fantastic. I loved him to death.
Man, yeah, and you think about Portland. I always hear like such cool stuff out of Portland because there was it Bobby Rose, Playboy, but no, Buddy Rose,
Buddy Rose,
and then Piper, obviously.
Buddy was trained by Vern.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that either. Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's so crazy to think about this. And I'll make the weird connection too here. You mentioned Blackjack Lanza. It's funny, Greg, like Vern trained him. And then, but oddly enough, RVD told me that it was Blackjack Lanza who taught him how to throw a really good punch. Like he didn't, he threw a shitty punch before anything. And it was Blackjack Lanza that taught him. So it ties back into all of that. It's just so crazy.
Yeah.
I love
Oh, Vern's camps are really hard. I mean, we did 1 hour of submission wrestling.
Man, geez.
Where Billy Robinson and Vern would, do this. Billy was really hard on us when he training. I mean, he would hurt you.
Yeah, you were saying that he's a bull. He was a bull.
Intentionally do it sometimes, especially when Vern was in that camp. He did it one time. He hurt 2 of us, Flair and myself, and we had a little party at this hotel. And Flair was doing his thing. He would go in one room and come out with Showtime with only his cowboy boots on.
Yeah, yeah.
And Billy and all the girls were flocking all over him, So Billy got pretty hot. And he went out in the hallway and came around and where Rick would go in and take his clothes off and got on Rick's ass pretty hard. And then he had a few drinks in him. He came out and he got on myself and Brunsell pretty hard.
Uh-huh.
So when Billy walked back in, all of a sudden we saw Vern confront him. And they shut the doors and closed the curtains. Curtains were open about that far, and we were watching, and Vern beat the shit out of him. And Billy was supposed to be a pretty tough guy, but he beat the hell out of him.
Yeah, laid the law
down. Never do that to the boys we're training. And then about a month later, again, Vern wasn't in camp. Billy was running. He would lock you up and drop you on your shoulder or throw you the wrong way. He'd try to hurt you. And he was a nasty guy.
That's what I hear. That's what I hear.
Yeah, he was a bully.
I think Piper had a story about him being a bully too to him as well. Yeah. But man. You guys aren't bullies though. You guys are great. I love you guys. So
who am I going to bully around?
Yeah, you're going to shove around.
You don't bully me though.
Yeah.
Carl Gotch was another one of those guys too.
Yeah, well, that's who Robinson trained with.
Oh, really?
Trained Billy Robinson was Carl Gotch,
and he was a bully too, Magnum.
So Carl was in Tampa when I was there working with. When Mike Graham had brought me in, and Eddie was infamous for, bring guys that wanted to be in the business, whatever, having them come down to the ring and, have somebody stretch them and, discourage them from, thinking they wanted to be a professional wrestler.
Right.
And he heard that he heard that I was a shooter and I was down there with Carl, and to me. I can appreciate somebody that is a hooker and knows how to use submission holes and all that because, I came up getting trained by guys who were in the SEAL team, and that's where I learned how to do a rear naked choke when I was working in bars. And of course, it's a killing technique is what it is. is really dangerous. But again, all those things are legit and everything. But to say, oh, lay here and let me put you in a sugar holder, or lay here and let me put you in this and see if you can get out, that is just the biggest bunch of crap ever. I mean, if a grown man is worth his salt, and he's strong, and he's not blown up, and you're taking him on fresh, you're not just going to waltz in and put him in these positions and these things these guys were infamous for doing. Now, if you want to go out there and you and him go toe to toe, and then you can still get him in that position, okay, well, that there's a little more to that. But I was never for wearing guys out and putting them in a hold and doing that stuff. I had zero time for it.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I saw some things happen to people that I just told them. I said, you're lucky, because said you don't know who you're dealing with. One of these guys go out and come back and bring a gun in you and blow your head off.
Yeah.
They don't care how tough you think you are.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Like, that's an aspect. Magnum, you don't take any shit. That's because you're the boss.
Well, I learned.
You're saying I do?
I learned really quick. Before I got in the business, I worked security in nightclubs for about 2 years, and again, my manager was a SEAL Team 6 retired guy from Vietnam, and when those guys taught you to do things, and you lived that kind of life and dealt with drunks and longshoremen and all the riffraff that come in and out of nightclubs, you get a kind of a short fuse for foolishness, and always just kind of kept that knowledge and those things in my head, and knew them and used them if I needed to. But there's no man walking the face of the earth that can't be had on a given day. I don't get Haku or anybody. Anybody can be had on a given day if the right situation occurs. So you're better off to be humble and take care of business and go about life and try to be peaceful.
That's it. I love it, Magnum. This is great stuff.
Dom, this whole show, and I've seen that red shirt on you, and I just looked down on it. I'm a funker. And I thought it was something else before.
Oh, did you?
I thought, how could he wear that on the show?
No, I know. I don't know how people wear those.
You are a funker.
On them and stuff. This is my Terry Funk shirt. So
yeah, I see that now.
Yeah. Nope, didn't do that. Yeah.
All right.
You guys are funkers too. You know what?
Yes.
So, okay, here we'll close it with this. This is a super chat from Instagram, a wrestling historian. What do you guys order at Waffle House? Magnum, what do you order at Waffle House?
I would get. What did I always get? I went in with Animal and Hawk all the time, and we would get like a bacon cheeseburger and a fried egg and put it on top of it, and then get hash browns smothered and covered and put that on it and make this giant sandwich. That was, and back then I could eat 2 of them. So it was eating it. Some of the best meals that I ever remember eating were between 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning at the most god awful places. But
you had a few beers in you at that time, though, too, didn't you?
Well, I was really hungry. And something about eating when you're really, really hungry, it leaves you with lasting memories. But yeah, man, I love Waffle House.
Man, I'm so jealous because I'm up in Pennsylvania. There's no Waffle Houses anywhere here. You got to go to the South and all that stuff to do that.
You got to go to the South for the Waffle Houses.
Now, did you do Waffle House too, Greg? Do you remember
we wrestled in Georgia for a couple of weeks, and we went to one there. But my memory, I have no idea what I had. Of course, we could have had a few beers in us too when we went in. Everything tasted good.
I'm sure you had a waffle or two there, maybe.
Yeah, we had some waffles.
Well, that's how Andre named me. We were at Fat Man's Barbecue eating breakfast in Tampa. He had this humongous plate of biscuits and gravy, and he that's where he came up with the Magnum TA moniker that he dubbed me with in 1982. So So some big things happen during those breakfasts, early mornings. You never knew.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm gonna make sure that hits the dirt sheets, Magnum, that your name started at Waffle House by Andre the Giant.
No, it wasn't. It was at Fat Man's Barbecue.
Oh, Fat Man's Barbecue. Okay. Wow. That's awesome though. That's some great stuff. Cool. Well, this has been some great stuff. I'm glad we're back together, and we'll do this next week. Guys, if you like what you're seeing, be sure to like, subscribe to the fourhorsemanetwork.com, and then also look out for Brass Ring Media. That's going to be our new home, is Brass Ring Media too.
When does that start?
That's going to start today, I think. I'm going to start putting a clips from last week's episode up there on Greg, and then I'll churn out the new episodes onto there and everything like that, because it's a bigger platform, and I want to get the word out about the show a little bit more. So be on the lookout for that. We did have a question. Any update on the TNA figures there, Magnum, when it comes to Powerhouse or Power Town?
The TNA figures and the and Ultras 2 figures both. I'm doing my best to get them here this summer.
Okay.
That's all I can tell you. And
Okay.
the Remcos were like any minute.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet. Good to know that. Good to know. So a little update there on that forefront as well. So, but man, what a great show. Thank you to Matt Carter, Triple E, CB, the boss tagging in, Charlie. I just saw his in there. Ghoulies a new guy in the thing. See, Charlie does ask, how's the back healing up? No more falls for you, Greg. Are you good so far?
How's the back healing up?
Yeah.
Well, right now I'm living with my daughter and her husband and their 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm on 1 floor. I came over here. This is the place Lauren and I stay together in a townhouse. I'm just starting to do stairs now. I did, 2 weeks after the surgery at my daughter's house, was supposed to be safe.
Yep.
Did I tell you the story?
Yeah, where you fell on the steps?
Yeah. 15 steps right down. Kept my chin in, trying to get my feet up. Man,
I can't
thought I broke
step like that. I would have been like, F no, I just got my back work on. I'm not
I
gonna
don't have to fall, I told the doctor. And he said, well, lucky you do, because it looks okay.
Looks
But
all right.
I'm having a few issues right now, but it is what it is.
Well, you're handling it really well. You got good spirits. I like it, Greg.
I'm really not.
Yeah. Well, for this hour, at least you are. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate you guys. You can follow Magnum on Instagram at Magnum_TA. You can follow Greg on Instagram at Gagne.Greg. You can follow me on X at Dominic D'Angelo. If you have some
we have
feedback.
more than 2 viewers today.
Oh, yeah. We have almost 50 people tuning in right now.
Good.
We'll get more churning, hopefully, on Brass Ring Media.
We like those questions.
Absolutely. Great questions, guys. I appreciate it as always. And we'll see you next time here on Straight Talk with the Boss. That's Magnum TA. And then that's the facilitator, Greg Gagne. See you next time, guys.
I'm just